Hello! This time I'm going to run through a daily with black-white tokens. Mainly because I saw Sorin, Lord of Innistrad previewed. By the time you're watching it, I think it'll have been last week. I think it was Wednesday. Regardless, Sorin, Lord of Innistrad has been spoiled. Black-white Planeswalker who makes tokens and gives your creatures, like, he makes a Battlecry emblem, basically. And so this token deck's already pretty good. It's got intangible virtues and such. So I wanted to try and see what the deck was like now, and play it a little before I tried putting in Sorens and when Dark Ascension comes out. So this deck's basically a token deck, similar to the green-white tokens deck, but instead of like Garrick and Mayor of Avabrook and Gavany Township, you're playing removal and Bloodline Keepers and Bloodgift Demons. And also, you get mana fixing, unlike the green-white deck. The green-white deck has no mana fixing. If they want to play mana fixing, they have to play like Traveler's Amulet or something. This deck actually gets a land that does it, because the mana in Innistrad block is not the best. You basically have to be playing allied colors. Or, I'm sorry, enemy colors. But it's just a basic aggro deck. You play your Doom Travelers, or your Spirit tokens, or your Zombie tokens, or your Bat tokens. And then you play an Intangible Virtue and start hitting them. And the deck's pretty well. It has a lot in the 4 spot, which I'm not a big fan of. I actually tend to take out Bloodline Keeper a lot for board games. Or, I'm sorry, not boarded matchups, like games 2 and 3. But he's pretty good in the main deck. Like, he's a threat that has to be answered or he'll take over the game. And the main advantage of this deck over green-white is instead of like the mana, are these two cards, Mold the Unhallowed and Sever the Woodline. They're both 4-drops. This one is like one of the best removal spells in the format, if not the best. Actually, it's probably the second best. Doubles Play is probably a little better. But Sever the Woodline is still insane, and the ability to use it twice in an aggro deck, where you can just kill them after you use it, is very good. And similar to Maul the Unhallowed, which makes a lot of creatures. It gives you a little card advantage that the green deck just doesn't have without Mentor of the Meek, which you're also playing. And I'm actually not a big fan of Mentor of the Meek in this deck. As I previously discussed, a lot of your cards cost 4 or 5, and so Mentor of the Meek doesn't get a whole lot of business done unless you have a Bloodline Keeper and a Mentor in play. And that happens so rarely, because they usually just kill one or the other. So I hope to be able to be taking out Mentor of the Meek when Dark Ascension comes out. But right now, it's like the best show available. And for the board, we have just more removal, basically. The curses are for random token decks like the Mirror or green-white tokens. Sometimes they're bringing in against Boros, but not usually, because they have a bunch of Champion of the Parishes and stuff like that are just larger than 1/1. It's really good against the blue-red or blue Stalker decks. So their Invisible Stalker just dies upon entering play, and they usually don't have a creature bigger than 1/1. The Victim of the Nights are for Splinter Fright. Oh, the curse is also good against Dredge. The Victim of the Night is also for Dredge. Kills all the creatures that are threatening. The Kesich Cage Breakers, the Splinter Frights, and the Boneyard Worms. They all die to Victim of the Night for 2 mana. Quite a bargain, because Deadweight's very bad against them. Urgent Exorcism, just your token removal for enchantments, like opposing Intangible Virtues or Bloodline Keepers, Burning Vengeances. Nevermore is bring in specifically against control decks, usually naming like, or Dredge. Against Dredge, I usually name Nausabone because you are an aggro deck and you do need to eventually kill them. Like sometimes you'll name Spider Spawning for the same reason, if you don't already have like a curse out or something. But against control decks, you'll name like Blasphemous Act or Devil's Play or Knot of the Bone, just things that you wouldn't be able to be beat otherwise. And Nevermore is very hard to remove. Like they won't bring in much enchant removal. They will bring some because of Intangible Virtue, but control decks usually don't play white, and that's like the only enchant removal in the color. Witchbane Orbs are for Boros and Burning Vengeance control decks. Boros does not have as many good, has a better early game than you, but you have the much better late game. So if you can survive until the late game, what'll happen in game 1 is you'll finally stabilize, and then they'll Devil's Play you for 6 and kill you. So you bring in the Witchbane Orbs, and once you stabilize, you drop a Witchbane Orb, and they can't kill you anymore. They have to deal with your board, which is much better than theirs because you'll have Guy Starter Monks and multiple Mono the Unhallowed tokens, and just things like that. It's also very good against Burning Venge and things like that that require abilities to kill you. It's also okay against Liliana, but Liliana's not very good against this deck anyway, so I don't expect to see Liliana in a lot of game 2s. But that is the deck. I'll run it through a daily shortly. We'll see how we do. I'm looking forward to this deck after Dark Ascension. Hopefully it's a good little preview of a black-white token archetype, and as long as until Magic Online gets its business. Wow, I can't speak. Anyway, until Magic Online releases Dark Ascension is what I'm trying to say. Bear with me.